welcome to A Joy to Be Me, a podcast sharing the magic of minerals, microbes, and a return back to nature's ways. Tune in to learn how to nourish yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's time to reconnect with and deepen the fundamentals of human health so we can return to our wild state. I'm your host, Lydia Joy. Let's celebrate this wild ride we call the human experience. Welcome back, friends, and happy Scorpio season. It's a time of growth and transformation. I have been enjoying fall, and I've been a little bit more behind the scenes working on my website as well. And I did create a new free resource for you, which I will share at the end of this episode. Before I get into today's topic, which I'm actually really excited to talk about, I do want to share something that I wrote recently. It was upon reflection of some big themes that came through for me this past full moon. You know, nature holds so much wisdom. Gosh, and so many powerful metaphors, honestly, that can really, help to guide us on our own journey. And so I hope you find something to take away from my ponderings, which are, this beautiful nature metaphor. So I'm going to share that first. And it's just something I wrote. So imagine a garden where soil is the foundation for everything to grow. Just like our inner world is the foundation for all areas of our lives, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. The soil's ability to hold water properly is essential, much like how our ability to circulate energy, emotions, and thoughts shapes our well-being. When soil holds water well, nutrients can flow to where they're needed, creating balance. Similarly, when our inner energy flows well, we thrive, but only if we focus on the right things. Now, think about how we often focus on big movements, like chasing major goals, expecting, fast, quick results, or tackling big life challenges. It's similar to like a tree growing too many large branches or a tomato plant overloaded with blossoms at the tips. In both cases, when there's too much growth, let's say in the wrong places or at the wrong time, energy gets stretched thin. The tomatoes on the lower part of the plant, the ones with the most potential, they don't ripen because all the energy is drawn to areas that aren't sustainable. In our lives, it's the same. We hold on to extra responsibilities, distractions, or expectations that pull energy away from the places that need it most. As a result, we feel stretched, overwhelmed, and unable to fully thrive. Just as a gardener prunes back excess branches or pinches off blossoms that won't fruit in this season, we too must trim away the non-essential in our lives. By letting go of what's draining us, we redirect our energy toward nurturing the most important parts of ourselves. Pruning is about making sure the plant bears the best fruit in its season, and we need to do the same, letting go of the excess that's holding us back so we can produce the best fruit in this season of our lives. This cycle of trimming, growth, and nurturing helps us not just survive, but thrive in alignment with our true potential. So I hope you found some wisdom in there for yourself to take away and sit with, and hopefully, maybe move you towards some type of action that's necessary for you right now. All right, today I want to dive into a topic that doesn't always get the attention it deserves, but thankfully it is starting to. And I kind of want to get out ahead of it before it becomes a big trend and now we have all kinds of crazy products to wade through. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely crucial to your health. Fiber, yes, fiber. I mean, you probably have heard it's essential, right? But I want to talk about why, I want to dig in. I want to talk about the transformative power of it and its relationship with your gut, as well as even helping you absorb your minerals, but really how it can impact you as a whole, right? Your overall well-being. It's just incredibly important. But first, I kind of feel like I see these patterns and trends and I have to speak to them, right? Because I want to get out ahead of the next one that's going to come, right? And I feel like in the holistic health space, it seems like everyone's been, searching for solutions to their problems. And for over the past decade or more, the main advice has just been eliminate it, right? Like, especially when it comes to foods. Um, but that really just provides a short-term, like air quote, Lydia's air quoting right now, solution, if you will. Short-term relief doesn't equal true healing or recovery, right? So we have all these different categorical eliminations out there. There's so many, right? We've cut out dairy. We're told not to eat wheat, gluten, but then now grains, but then now, wait, hold on, like legumes are a problem too, or like, oh my goodness, wait, there's even more. Hey there, low FODMAPs diet, the one that's supposed to, cure IBS, right? Takes out all the fermentable fibers that can be gas producing or problematic, right? And it just leads to a growing list of foods that are off limits. All of these things that we've seen. There's so many. I'm not even covering anywhere near all of them. And suddenly people are just left wondering, like, well, what the heck is left to eat? And what have you even really solved, right? If you're eating from a limited list of foods. And if you deviate from that list of foods, you go back to those symptoms. Well, so the approach of eliminating symptoms by removing whole quality source foods is not working. And after years of hearing experts demonize all these foods, gluten, grains, phytates, lectins, carbs, dairy, and more, how many people are enjoying, this? They're just missing the simple joy of actually enjoying a meal, enjoying their food. And I don't know about you, but I want to enjoy foods. I do enjoy foods. I love enjoying my meals. It's like a beautiful dance to me, right? And I enjoy things in abundance, and I don't have any externally imposed restrictions in my life. That's terrible. No fun. Nobody wants to be constantly dodging like metaphorical food monsters. Now, elimination diets might and can offer short-term relief, sure. But they often lead to longer-term struggles. And I just think we can't overlook the downsides of our obsession collectively with the quick fix. Whether it's relying on, pills, medication, supplements, or these short-term elimination diets, right? Because honestly, it's ignoring the root causes. And I know that's kind of been stated ad nauseum these days. And of course, I speak to that as well. We never really truly solve our problems with the quick fix. We're just continuing to sweep them under the rug. Now, symptoms are a part of a web of interconnected issues that always need much deeper exploration. Our love for the quick fix, it's actually making things worse and longer, because the journey now is like, shoot, I got to go clean up all this mess that's under the rug, right? And it's really exacerbating our problems collectively. And I'm here to break this pattern and address the roots right up front, slow and steady. That's my thing. I don't want to take a Band-Aid approach. I don't think that we should take real foods off the table entirely. I think it's really important to correct nutrient deficiencies, fix poor digestion, repair guts. Let's just be honest about it. It's real. It's there. It's collective, right? And the lifestyles we're living. We just have to see the big picture for what it is and slowly start to repair it. I don't know if you guys are fed up with it yet, but I sure am for y'all. So I just wanted to share that briefly, and keep that at the forefront because, I know a lot of people are looking for relief in their lives, and it's easy to want to do something quick, but quick doesn't build lasting health. I'm sorry. So with that shared, I want to talk about eating more plants, aka fiber, aka fermentable fibers, aka prebiotics. There's all these terms. They're all, kind of, they all essentially mean the same thing. Eat more plants so you can get more fiber, diversity of nutrients. A lot of them are going to have a prebiotic impact in your gut. So let's get into it. Now, here's something that needs to be said. If you can't eat fiber right now without big reactions, that's a signal that your gut flora have atrophied. So fiber is food for your microbes, and those microbes are essential to every process in your body. We believe that, humans are more microbes than cells at this time. And, so much of what matters for your human physiology and health relies on you having a healthy microbiome. So when the probiotics or good microbes in your gut consume prebiotics, which are fibers, right? They create what's called postbiotics, meaning we can actually make some of our own nutrients, enzymes, short chain fatty acids. And these postbiotics, they really do a lot to help your body function optimally, truth be told. And, if we don't have them, we're missing a percentage of our function, right? So for example, I look at, these stool analyses all the time, and I see what they are. So there's a bunch of them. It's really cool. I'll get into it more over time, but you can actually make a fair bit of your vitamin K2 needs in your gut from your microbes. I haven't seen anyone doing this well yet, but that's something we're supposed to be able to do, right? So that's just one nutrient. And if you don't know much about K2, it's pretty important. And so that's just one example. So when you eat fiber, you're not just eating it for yourself, really. You're eating it for your microbial community to grow and flourish. And in return, these microbes help you out big time, even with your mineral metabolism. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship. So if you can't currently tolerate fiber without discomfort, it's because your gut flora have weakened. Now, this doesn't mean you should avoid it. It means you need to restore and feed your microbial friends. There's a lot of ways we can do this. But we need to do this because they protect us, right? Our microbes can actually help us do some pretty powerful things. They can help us detoxify things, radioactive isotopes, glyphosate, heavy metals like lead. They're really intelligent beings, and they recognize toxins and help manage them in our bodies. So we really want to be building them versus like all this shit we're trying to do to like eradicate stuff. Like our bodies are built with a beautiful design, and we're not working with that design. We're always like, what can I eliminate? What can I eliminate? What can I eradicate? What can I eradicate? Whew, let's just make ourselves stronger so we can do what we're supposed to, right? And sometimes, we do need a lot more support than that, but don't know that that's where we need to start, is like eliminating all the things that could be helping us expand in such a way where we are better equipped to deal with all the things that we're dealing with in the environment, right? Now, the more diverse your gut microbiome, the more capable your system becomes at digesting everything. and eliminating excesses that we don't want. Right? Now, I believe the modern world has waged a war on our microbes, much like the soil has been stripped of minerals. And so I think, this microbial devastation has affected both the soil and our internal soil, which is our gut biome. So if you don't know much about soil, which most people don't, it's not just dirt. Like a lot of the dirt that's you probably observe is not healthy soil at all. Oh man, but it's fascinating to start to study soil and really kind of see how it mirrors how that could work in the human body as well. And most of you listening, you probably grew up eating the standard American diet. It's just, a fact of the times we're in. And let's be honest, is pretty low in fiber and minerals, right? Thanks to the refining processes that have been implemented for so long. But the truth is we are designed to eat way more fiber than we do today, right? And it's just all we've witnessed. And our ancestors, from what we can understand, likely consumed over 100 grams of fiber per day. Like plants, just remember that means plants. They didn't have to try. They didn't have to think about it. And, they just did it. And if you compare that to today, where some people are getting like 10, maybe 20 grams a day, which is ridiculous. And, the RDA, the really dumb amount, recommends a mere 25 to 38 grams per day. You put that in contrast to the 100 plus, right? It's like we are operating at such a huge percentage loss, comparatively to what we once would have done. So that just goes to show we have a lot of work to do. We collectively stopped eating fiber when all of the refining came in. It's just taken a toll on our gut flora and has been compounded by all the myriad of other factors that are an insult to our gut bugs. Now, I covered that information in my leaky gut episode, my Let's Talk About Probiotics episode. So I won't go into that more now. You can go back and listen to those. And to be honest with you, with this in mind about fiber, it's why I can't support the idea of these high animal protein diets that are trending, carnivore, keto. They just take out way too much fiber and put in way too much fat in animal foods. And it is a problem. We need fiber. It's crucial for so many reasons, including helping our bile bind and carry out toxins like cholesterol and pollutants. Without enough fiber, most of this toxic bile gets reabsorbed, wreaking havoc in our system. Now, when I talk about eating a lot more plants, I'm not here to advocate we eliminate animal foods entirely. In case anyone starts to misinterpret my sharing that, I'm not here to say plant-based only is the way. I believe humans are omnivores. We have the physiology to demonstrate this. However, every microbiome educator I have sat with the past 5 years, the research is growing and, it's based on the different species of bacteria that we are seeing in our gut, and which ones that too much animal protein and fat is hurting. Right. And as well, the same is true for certain problematic ones that overgrow due to too much saturated fat and animal protein. And this is a huge problem for our microbiome. Dr. Jason Horlak is a wonderful educator in this realm. And he talks about how both saturated fats, too many, right? We're like, I'm not against saturated fats. I love my saturated fat, but we kind of had a pendulum swing. And, you get into the mineral world and you start to understand slow oxidation and you look at most people's, can't digest these things. They're being told in the holistic health spaces to consume ridiculous amounts of, in my opinion, I had someone recently come in and they were like, yeah, I was told I had to eat, all this fat and it just made the person sick. And it's like, what are we doing here? It's like, hold on a second, relax, cool our jets here. We have to be able to digest it, not meet some ridiculous number that someone thinks we need. It's just crazy. But too much bile production can occur in some cases where, you put in the saturated fat, you put in the heavy animal proteins, the body's got to produce bile. Maybe it's not good at it right now, and that's an even bigger problem. But when we have all this bile production, going on, it's going to feed certain things that can overgrow. Then without the fibers to help, feed the microbes, to even carry out anything that's in excess in the bile out of our body. Now we've got everybody doing all these freaking coffee enemas in the mineral world. Wow. So we're doing all these crazy things to circumvent the problem that has come about when, really, if we look back, it's like we took out all the nutrients and now we're trying to put them back in a weird way. It's just like these imbalanced ways of trying to figure out what to eat. And, in America, we really do love our fat and protein. Let's be honest. If you look at the average way people eat, there's a lot of fat and protein in our diets and not enough plant fibers. And we sure do like to defend the consumption of these things. But when we're honest and we look back at history and we take an honest assessment, which, again, I'm going to bring up Arthur Haynes' book, The New Path, which I love. It's an amazing way to look back and get honest and diplomatic and, philosophical about where have we come? Let's take away the dogma. Let's really look at this. We lost a lot of plant diversity and we don't even have the context personally anymore for how big of a problem this is, because we've lived in a time where it's all been gone and we're just too busy emphatically promoting how important protein is to our own detriment, I believe, to be honest. All right. So I do want to clear up a possible misconception that's out there. When we talk about fiber, I am not talking about processed fiber supplements, right? Like, I don't know, you guys, I grew up in the 70s and I remember Metamucil was like a big thing. By the 70s, we'd gone so long with taking out all the fibers of our food, right? So all of a sudden it's like, oh, we need fiber again, right? So then the answer was take a supplement and drink it, this disgusting stuff. Or like psyllium husk, everyone's taking like psyllium husk concoctions, right? Which, or even just like adding a ton of bran, like, like the mothers of my generation are like, oh, we got to put bran in all our baked goods, because the doctor told us we need fiber. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's all cute. But guys, it's obviously, again, another like little hack to try to rectify a way bigger issue. So when I'm talking about fiber, I am talking about functional, fermentable fibers, the kind that feed your microbes. And we can classify most of them as prebiotics. So from the National Institute of Health, it says fermentable fibers may provide a number of health benefits by altering the composition of the intestinal flora. Prebiotics are non-digestible substances, not all of them, by the way, that provide a beneficial physiological effect to the host by selectively stimulating the favorable growth or activity of a limited number of indigenous bacteria. All right, that's their explanation. So these fibers that we are supposed to be consuming actually can help prevent pathogens from sticking around in your gut and causing discomfort. Now, contrary to what some diets suggest, avoiding fiber due to discomfort it's not the solution, right? If your gut is out of balance, it needs those functional fibers to feed the key microbial species that should be there. They might not be. Remember. So it's a delicate dance, but avoiding fiber will only worsen the issue in the long run. And I think the people who need fiber the most are the ones who are going to also struggle the most to eat it. That would be me. I've been there. So you have to begin to really fix the gut to reap the rewards of better health overall. Okay. Right. And then to fix the gut, we gotta have those fibers and a lot of diversity of plants. All these components of plants that are going to be available to us to do the repair work. Now, I don't believe that gas and bloating brought on by plant foods means they are inflammatory. Ultimately, they're going to be anti-inflammatory in the long run, or let's call it inflammation modulating. That's a better way to say it, right? Because it's not like you're popping a pill and it's going to take away your pain right now, right? Like ibuprofen. So they're going to help you modulate inflammation better. Like your body's going to be better equipped to deal with anything that could cause inflammation. Now, if you take your time and you go slow, adding in more plant foods if you're not used to it, eating them in the more whole form if you're not used to it. I grew up eating refined foods. Now, my dad, we could call him a little hippie at the time, but really he was just trying to eat how he grew up eating. He grew up in a family that grew a lot of their own food and they ate whole foods. And, he wanted to keep doing that. But my mom didn't as much. And she just she was a semi-homemade cook, So I remember that. I remember a lot of like debate about like whole grains, and my mom was just like not having any of it. So my dad kind of lost that battle, right? So I grew up without very much fiber at all. I think, we had apples, but we didn't eat a lot of anything with fiber. So, that hurt my guts, and I've had a lot of issues, and I've shared a lot about that. So, just as an example, here we are, right? And so when I got, figured this all out and started to rebuild, it wasn't like a smooth sailing process. I definitely had discomfort and ebbs and flows with, trying to increase my fibers, especially like with beans. But avoiding them was not the answer. Avoiding them never allowed my gut to, begin to learn how to work with them again. You gotta go in and you gotta do the retraining. Now, I know you guys probably know this by now. Like, health isn't just about weight, right? And it's so huge. It's really about what's happening on the inside, with our microbes as well. And I think there's like statistics, and who knows, but they say 95% of Americans aren't getting enough fiber. So I want to make it sexy. Just like all the foundations for our health should be sexy. We talked about water and minerals becoming sexy, and guess what? They are slowly becoming sexy. So let's do it with fiber too, okay? When we eat more fiber, we can lose weight. And then we can also reduce our risk of all kinds of things like stroke or heart attack. We can improve blood pressure, cholesterol balance, and so much more. Now, I've heard people in the health space, I even just read a post recently that was like, wow, super, almost like sounded angry about fiber, and saying high fiber diet is bad for gut health. And that could not be further from the truth. If your gut is reacting so angrily to fiber, it's because your microbial population is depleted. And again, I'm going to say this, avoidance isn't the answer, repair and repletion are. So let's talk about how we can do that. Think of it like this. Your gut is a muscle. The more you expose it to diverse fiber-rich foods, the stronger it becomes. right? So just like you wouldn't go to the gym day one after a sedentary life and start lifting heavy weights, right? You wouldn't do that. I mean, you might do that and realize, that was probably pretty stupid, right? And we've all probably done some degree of that, right? But you got to build towards it. You got to build your strength back. You got to do it slow. And that's the same is true with fiber. You need to start slowly, increase gradually. Over time, your gut will be able to handle a wide variety of foods, and eventually you'll be able to enjoy more without restrictions. The truth is, most of our guts are so weak and we don't even realize it. And then we don't know what to do. We don't know how to eat these foods either. Like, we don't even know how to eat them. And we just avoid them because they're not familiar to us. And also, a lot of times many people have, like, maybe you did like a nutritional balancing protocol or something. And because Dr. Wilson's whole thing is like 6 to 9 cups of vegetables, right? Which is great. And then you got like Terry Wall's, Dr. Wall's protocol. Like, she went ham on the plants, right? But like most of us right out of the gate cannot do that. You have to be okay with that. It's reality. So, all right, if you're only eating 1 cup of vegetables a day, go slow. Just work up to 2. You don't have to arrive at some number that someone put on a protocol. It's like someone saying you need to go to the gym and squat 200 pounds in order to be optimally healthy. Are you going to like go do that? No. And the practitioner should be aware of like, you got to go slow, right? So we go slow. We work our way up, and over time we grow stronger for it. And then here we are. We just have to maintain. It's no longer a challenge. It's a lifestyle we can sustain. All right. So how do you start rebuilding your gut strength? Well, you got to start by eating more plants, right? So for example, if you're not eating many right now, like my 21-year-old son, yes, boy, I see you. Start with, I don't know, pick a 3 to 5 per week. I don't know if the 5 feels like, then just try to get to 3. If it's really bad, then pick 1 or 2 new ones that you don't eat, but you're like, I've wanted to try these, and start there. And then maybe you'll be like, all right, this is cool. I can do this. And then you can go from there. Just whatever resonates for you, because it's you that has to sustain and do it. Nobody else can tell you the titration that you need to do. As long as you are moving towards increasing and can increase and, do so in a way that you're working with the seasons, right? And you're looking at what's coming to you in each season and add more and more diversity over time, that's great. I like to tell people, try for at least 30 different plant types per week at some point. So that might sound overwhelming to some people, but it's not as hard as you think when you get out there and you start to pay attention. All right. So, and again, each season it's going to be different. So try to see what's in season, right? You're going to get vegetables, fruits, grains, seeds, nuts, legumes, herbs. And if you're adventurous, even the wild plants, because that's something that, I've been trying to, kind of put out there and teach people. It's not as hard as you think. Start with dandelions, start with nettles, right? And the more diverse your diet, which, by the way, dandelions are really high in inulin, super great, awesome prebiotic, and loaded with certain minerals. So that's a fun one. And it's got the bitter property, which we totally need to help us out. So, it can be that simple. Start there, right? The more diverse your diet, the more diverse your microbiome becomes, right? So you can see, like, diversity is key to you becoming a healthier you. All right. Our ancestors would have gathered hundreds of different species of plants throughout the year. And this plant diversity nourished their microbes, which in turn nourished them. So we can do the same. We can connect with nature, eat seasonally. And I really think the benefit of focusing on eating more plants is that you can if that's like the goal, like instead of like these diets that I've mentioned, instead of like, here's the diet you're supposed to do, if you can just pick one thing and focus on eating more plants, right? If like that's the goal, that's a little easier for you to say, all right, here's where I'm at. I'm going to try to eat more plants. And you can work with where your digestion and gut are currently by going slow. Some people might not tolerate grains and some people might. So why take them out if you tolerate them? And why not try to diversify your grains? So let's say you're like, I can't eat wheat. Well, all right, there's a lot of other grains out there. Have you even tried any of them? I'm particularly fond of barley. Barley is a wonderful high in beta glucans, and I do really well with barley. My body loves it. But I didn't grow up eating very much of it. My mom didn't really know how to cook it, and I think we had it in like some Campbell's frickin' soup, right? Like this big pearl barley. But there's different varieties of barley, different colors even, right? So maybe choose some new ones that aren't the, over-consumed modern ones that have become incredibly problematic to us because of how they've been raised for so long, right? So if you don't think grains are all bad, try some that you didn't eat in excess your whole life. Like maybe spelt or rye, or try a sourdough spelt. Right? If you only ever ate white rice, try a different color, a different type of whole rice, and maybe try smaller portions too. Like, you don't have to make it this large part of your meal. It could be a small part of your meal, and let your body see how it deals with it. Right? If you're not a veggie eater, I have met a lot of those, especially like bro dudes who like to be bulky, right? Like, it's like, oh, I'll eat vegetables. Can I just eat spinach? That one I could do. Could I just eat that like Popeye? I'm just, kind of laughing about this, but like seriously, these are ways, these are mindsets we get into, right? It's like, well, you could do that if you really want to, but where are you going to get with that, right? Overeating one vegetable just to like check off a box. So eat a variety, always. Find ones that you like. If you're overwhelmed by it because you never learned how to cook them or prepare them, well, guess what? It's a skill that is important for all of us. So you get to learn. And, the good news is, just go on Instagram once a day for a couple minutes, start liking some of these like quick little recipe doohickers, and the algorithm's like, hey, you like veggies. You want to learn how to make veggies. And guess what? Next thing you know, the sky's the limit, and there's no excuses anymore. Everyone's out there showing you how to do this and make it easy. We live in a world where it's like, oh, all right, cool. So much variety, so many options. Okay. So it's just, it may not be something you're used to, but you can get used to, just like, you can get used to anything. You can create any kind of habit. All right. I'm ranting. I know. Another thing that I'd like to say really quick, you get the idea, right? Same with legumes. Legumes are awesome. There's so many of them. Pick one. If you are like worried that you're going to be bloated and gassy, eat a tablespoon. Seriously, eat 1 tablespoon and see how you do. And, if you can eat a tablespoon every other day, cool. You just like maybe throw it on the top of a meal. I'm going to have a little bit of legume, or make a pulse, like a hummus, and just eat a tablespoon, right? Like that's how micro slow you can go. I like the term microdosing. I think we understand microdosing. We can apply it here with microdosing our fibers, right? Just go as slow as you need till you feel confident that your body is adapting and you're not worried about a little gas here and there. It's, if it causes severe pain, I don't want that for anyone. That's clear. There's a lot more going on, and, we've got some stuff to do. But everyone can tolerate some microdose amount of these things. All right. Another plant that I think is wonderful that offers a lot of, benefits to us are herbs. And I'm talking herbs in general, but culinary herbs, would be a really nice one for all of us because you're going to get all these phytonutrients and all these things. You know, it's not the kind of fiber that necessarily, prebiotics in herbs or plants, you know, they're not the same as like, say, a whole grain or a starchy vegetable or a root like a high inulin root like burdock or dandelion root or even eating, leeks with all the inulin in there. Some of those things, have higher prebiotic fibers that are more gas producing in people. But a really easy way to increase your plants would be culinary herbs. Most people tolerate them. And, it's really easy to grow them, you guys. Seriously, it's so easy. I don't know. People have house plants, but then they don't have functionally edible plants. Like if you can grow a house plant, you can grow herbs. I promise. It's not hard. Just a little love and you're good, right? Just don't forget to take care of them. Don't forget to water them. They'll do a lot of great things for you. And they're so easy to grow. There's dozens of varieties to choose throughout the season. Having a small herb garden gives you a nice way to add more diversity. You can add generous handfuls of herbs to your meals. I personally go out every day and pick herbs for every meal, every single meal, because I love it. And it makes my meals tasty and wonderful. So that is a really easy and delicious option to start with. And I got to say, growing your own herbs is like the gateway into growing more of your own food. Next thing you know, you might want to actually start a small kitchen garden, because you realize how much joy and flavor and less trips to the store. Anyways, you get the picture here. I hope. So, friends, our gut is like a muscle. It can be retrained. By avoiding fiber, we're doing ourselves and our microbes a disservice. The key is to slowly and steadily increase your fiber intake, giving your gut that workout it needs to rebuild and thrive. So start small, but keep going. Eat more plants, diversify your diet, and let your microbes do the heavy lifting. This is going to empower your entire system, okay? It's going to help you even remineralize. And, I know we all want lasting health and resilience, right? I mean, we need to get back to that. Look at our collective health. Whew, it's alarming. All right. So come hang out with me on Instagram if you care to see this in action. I do share a lot of my food insights there. I'm, show my farm pickups. What I've gotten, my meals, my foraging experiences, whenever I can, I'm trying to, and my plates of food that I'm concocting, I'm not showing it so people ask me for a recipe or think they have to eat like me. It's more so just to show, demonstrate, and give examples, and inspire y'all. All right, now I want to tell you about the resource I created for you. It's my magnesium guide revamped into, I'm calling it my Magic of Magnesium Starter Kit. Years ago, I created just like a basic magnesium guide. It's like 2000, I don't know, 16, 17, I don't know when it was, a long time ago. And so I decided it was high time to update it after observing a lot the past decade, observing some trends, some patterns, issues with how it's been going, out there in the collective, and also how it's being recommended. And, people are just like, well, what supplement should I take? Which form? And it's just, it's getting a little bit too much, right? So I wanted to share my holistic approach to working with this essential mineral, how, kind of like where I've gotten to in my personal life and in how I'm trying to get to my clients to integrate it, right? I really want us to be able to focus on the whole and how to truly nourish our body in alignment with nature, right? So whenever we realize a singular deficiency, it's easy to get myopic and swing in a weird way, So it's like I really want to make sure that when we pick a deficiency to focus on, we're doing it with the whole in mind as well, right? So I want to help you learn how to balance it in a way that supports your overall mineral health. It's not a quick fix. It's not a one size fits all. There's no need to find some trendy supplement that's currently being pushed because we figured out, oh my gosh, magnesium. Well, let's make 82,000, magnesium products, right? It's just practical, real world solutions for getting your minerals the way nature intended as much as possible with the long term in mind. And it is a food forward approach, as well as how, what types of, how our body prefers minerals and what ways you can get them. And I'm not here to isolate magnesium supplements or give you like pills just to chase the symptoms of magnesium deficiency either. All right. That said, the starter kit includes an audio training that I did, my magnesium guide, which is a PDF that you can download. It's got, a lot of information, recipes, my point of view, some basic practical things you can work on. Plus, I have some additional resources if you want to dive deeper, a $50 off code on any of my client services, and access to my Rewilded Wellness newsletter. So definitely check that out if that sounds interesting to you. In the show notes, you'll find the link. And finally, I just want to mention, if you're ready to dive deeper and transform your health from the inside out and move beyond Band-Aid solutions to create lasting wellness, you can learn more about how you and I can work together. You can just check out my Work With Me page below, read all that through and see what lands for you. All right. Well, until next time, stay wild and well, keep nourishing yourself, and I'll be back really soon.